All right, welcome back to Most Imaginative Bartender. We are still talking about creativity, hopefully inspiring you.
And today we're gonna show you videos of the 12 most imaginative bartenders. We're gonna have a deeper look into their creativities, their passions, and their credit outlet.
That's it, and today we're gonna check in with Alex Jump.
Alex.
So Alex is out of Denver, and for her Canvas grant project, she created FO8, which stands for Focus on Health. And it's all about mindfulness, which was her creative outlet, and really focusing on how to help bartenders be more mindful in our environment.
And especially during the pandemic, was amazing to see her social media very active with showing videos and interviews and lives, and especially focus on being positive and just, trying to relax and enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, being positive in a tough time for our industry for sure. Well, let's see what Alex has to show us.
Well, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm really excited to talk to y'all about my creative outlet today. I think that for myself, when I started working on an application for Most Imaginative Bartender and they asked me what my creative outlet was, I started to think about it and I felt like I didn't have an answer. I started thinking about, who I was as a person, and I realized that I didn't really have like Alex the bartender and Alex the other person, like the person who exists outside of hospitality. I just had Alex the bartender, and it didn't take me long to realize that that was a problem. That wasn't who I wanted to be. Even I really thought at the time was like, just because you have like Alex the bartender and Alex the not bartender doesn't mean that you can't be like a lifelong hospitality professional. It actually means that you're more suited to be a lifelong hospitality professional because you're not kind of like burning the candle at both ends, which is what I had done. That basically got me thinking, what if my creative outlet is finding ways to have better balance in my life? It doesn't have to be like this one thing. Maybe it's practicing yoga. Maybe it is creative writing. Actively working to separate yourself from work and finding ways to allow yourself to be a person that doesn't just exist to serve other people, I think is so important. You're a better leader when you are happier and well-rested and living a balanced life. Focus on Health is the business that I pitched during the 2020 Most Imaginative Bartender Finals. At first, I thought that it was gonna be something like totally different than what I pitched, and since I pitched it, it's kind of grown in different ways too. But after I pitched it to Most Imaginative Bartender, I came home and I ended up connecting with a friend of mine. Her name is Lauren Paylor, and she lives in Washington, D.C. She and I have been working in trying to launch a platform that can provide health and wellness resources to hospitality professionals. We want to have more open conversations with people in our industry about ways to make this industry a better place to work. We do a lot of programming on Instagram right now. We have conversations with hospitality professionals via Instagram Live, and then we're hoping to launch a podcast in the early fall where we'll interview not just hospitality professionals, but also people that are professionals in their fields of wellness. And we want to have conversations and provide resources to people, because I think that's a massive part of what's missing in our industry, is just having the resources available and having those conversations. Mindfulness for me is constant conversation in my head. I'm constantly having to kind of talk myself through things. It's not easy. Setting an alarm to make sure you wake up to work out, that's part of mindfulness. And the other part of it for me is being a little bit more gentle with myself and forgiving. Maybe I had a really long week at work. I just don't have the energy to get up and work out. Being able to be that's okay too, and then finding another time to give something to myself. I think for a long time it was hard for me to accept that other things could make me happy other than working. Now I can say, I'm feeling really depressed and I know I don't want to go to yoga, but I know that the moment I walk out of that class, I'll say, I'm so glad I went. Trying to remind myself of that when I'm feeling low is really important. Mindfulness activities, if you want to call it that, is for me, yoga for sure. I've practiced yoga for 13 years and counting, and that one is probably the biggest one. Also, a little bit more recently is riding my motorcycle. You can't even look at your cell phone when you're riding on a motorcycle. Like, it is in your bag or in your pocket, and you've got like gloves on. You don't have anything there except for your brain, so it's really like kind of a lot like meditation. I realized a long time ago that like I want to work in food and beverage for the rest of my career. And so that led me to realize that if I don't kind of take care of myself outside of it, then I won't have a life to live to have a lifelong career in food and beverage, if that makes sense.
It's great.
Wow, Alex, eh?
I really appreciate her sharing all that. That's amazing. I mean, you know, this is a great example of how creativity can come from anywhere. It really can. Where you're inspired from, where your passions come from. She talked about it in such a perfect way where she really sat down and thought, well, what is my creative outlet? She's created truly a really revolutionary way of looking at mindfulness and all the different facets of it. And I'm grateful for that.
And sharing also, you know, with the rest of the bartenders what she's been through and, you know, how she get out from that, right? And the way like, hold on a second, you know, you can relax, think of something else and be more proactive at work.
Yeah.
And FOH, this is all about, right?
Creative outlets are all what drive you, what motivate you, where your passions are, and the things that help you to be creative behind the bar. Well, hopefully this inspired you. I think that seeing creative outlets and creativity outside of the realm of what we usually think of is so important, and truly diving into what your creative outlet is, but I think we can all say we need to dive into hers for sure. On a regular basis, whatever your creative outlet is, being mindful should be a part of it.
Need to do some exercise now.
Thanks, everybody.